Hi everyone, it's Sarah or Lovely Day here with another video. Today's video is going to be a tag one. The tag I am doing, from what I understand, originated in the reborn community, but it was altered recently by Sea Hedgehog so that you could do it regardless of what type of dolls you own. I will link Sea Hedgehog's video down below, as well as the original tag's creator. This tag is called All About the Dolls. So I have Rachel here with me today, and you can't really see it right now, but she is wearing some rainbow socks. These were made by Kate or Arayla and I love them to bits. Rachel has definitely claimed them as her own. I don't think any of my other dolls have worn them as much as she has. I decided to dress her kind of casually today, give her a break from those other pants. These ones were technically given to me for Lee, but they work on her too. They're these really big baggy pants. She's also wearing one of the tops and coats that I got from SW Doll. Also, because people always ask me, her wig was made by Sugary Cuppy Cake over on Instagram, and it is the best ever. Just so that I don't have to sit here holding her the whole time, she is kind of heavy. I'm going to plonk her in this chair. It's actually an Our Generation chair. I do intend on customizing it so that it's not quite so pink and plastic, but I haven't got there yet. Let me know if you would like to see a video of me doing that, but yeah. Anyway, I should probably get on to the tag. I have my phone here with Sea Hedgehog's video. That way I can easily read the tag questions straight from her video description. So the first question is, do you prefer box openings or completion/customization reveals and doll vs owner videos? Before I answer, just to clarify the last part of this question, I'm assuming that customization reveals and all that are videos where you have a doll complete. So rather than unboxing a new doll or a new doll that's blank or whatever, you are just showing the finished product. And the whole doll vs owner thing, I'm not actually sure what that is. I might have to look into it because it does sound like fun. And the whole box opening thing is pretty straightforward, so I think I'm good on that. As for what I prefer though, I'm thinking box openings. I like both. It's always fun seeing people's reactions when they receive a doll. They're generally so happy, and it's one way to just get myself into a good mood. So for this question, I'm going to go with box openings, although I also love seeing how people have customized their dolls. The second question is, during a box opening, would you prefer to see the doll first or the goodies first, and why? Now this is a somewhat split one for me, because I definitely appreciate that most viewers who are just browsing YouTube looking for a specific doll come to unboxing videos wanting to see the doll, and more often than not people who find you via that don't know you and they don't care about you. As terrible as that sounds, they're just there for the doll. So if you sit there and ramble for 10 minutes, which I am definitely guilty of, they're probably just gonna skip past that and not stick around. And on a similar note, if you were to go through in a box opening and start with all of the outfits, the accessories, whatever else it is that you received, it's very possible that those same people are going to skip ahead to the actual doll reveal. So with all that in mind, I would probably say doll first, and to try not to take too long to get to that point if you can help it. All that aside though, as far as myself personally goes, I don't really mind. I generally click on box openings for one of two reasons. The first one being that I myself am interested in getting that doll and I want to see what it's like in person. So for that reason, I obviously want to see the doll, but I also want to see the person's reaction. I want to see how hyped the person is, if they've had any difficulties with their order, how long it took them to receive their order, if there were any complications, any tidbits about their communication with the company or seller or whatever. I want to know that. Generally people will talk about that at the beginning, and all of it is important as far as I'm concerned, so I honestly couldn't care less what they show me first. One thing I will say is that if they do show accessories or outfits at the beginning, I am probably going to want to see those on the doll at the end, and I try and do this in my videos too. Like for Miku, when I was going through her box, I was going through from the top down, so whatever happened to be at the top of the box was what I showed first, and I didn't really think too much about whether it was the clothes or the doll. I think how she was packaged, the doll ended up being on top, and that's just how it worked. Whereas with smart dolls, I know that they are shipped kneeling, and the box with their stand and whatnot in it is on top of their legs, if that makes sense. It's natural to pull that out and show that first when you are opening the doll. Oh yeah, and my second reason I would be watching a box opening video is probably going to be because I either subscribe to the person, follow the person, am friends with the person, have been watching them for a while, and I just genuinely care about their reaction and I want to see them excited because that makes me happy too. So as far as those videos go, it also does not matter to me what order you show me the stuff. My gosh, that was a lot of rambling for what is only the second question, so let's keep moving. Question number 3 is, when you are expecting a new doll, do you look up videos on YouTube of that particular sculpt? I actually mentioned this before. Yeah, I do. I will look all over the internet, on Instagram, YouTube, Google search, whatever it is I can get my hands on to find any and all pictures of this doll, because chances are if I have gone as far as to order this doll, I'm going to be super hyped about it and I will want to see as much of it as I can, especially since waiting times are a thing. And one way I find that helps me get through that waiting time is by living through others and looking at their pictures, their videos, their content with that doll in it. So my answer to number 3 is a giant yes. Question number 4 is, do you prefer face-to-face doll meetups or socializing with other doll hobbyists on social media, and why? So I'm lucky in that I've been able to do both of these things. In saying that the meetups I have in person are very, very small. There has only ever been 2 or 3 of us. And then as far as online goes, I talk to people online about dolls almost constantly. As far as what I prefer though, it really depends on the day and how I'm feeling. But when it comes down to it, I really do prefer meeting with people in person. There is just something so awesome about hanging out with a bunch of like-minded people, and even if you don't end up talking much or doing much, you're literally just sitting in a room playing with your dolls and taking pictures of each other's dolls. That is just so much fun and I really should do it more often. The next question is, do you prefer awake or asleep dolls, and why? Well, I only have awake dolls myself, so my answer should hopefully not be a surprise to any of you, but my preference is for awake dolls. When it comes to why, there are a couple of reasons that come to mind. First one being, the eyes are one of my favourite things about ball jointed dolls. I just think they are awesome, and the fact that you can customize them, they are so sparkly and shiny and real looking and just all around amazing. If you've got a sleeping doll, you're not going to be able to see those eyes. And secondly, if you are taking pictures of your dolls, I feel like having a sleeping head would limit your photo opportunities greatly. So yeah, that's my answer to that one. Next question is, do you prefer smilers or non-smilers, and why? I'm not quite sure exactly what it means by smilers. There are dolls out there that are sculpted with these big toothy grins, and as far as they go, I personally am not a fan. I've seen a few painted amazingly and they look great, but personally I wouldn't want one in my collection. One reason being that, similar to having a sleeping eye doll, you would end up being quite limited to the sort of things you could do with that doll if they always look happy. Like, what if you wanted to do a moody or brooding photo with them? You kind of can't because they're stuck with this big grin on their face. I also think that sometimes, and no offense to anyone who has these dolls or likes them, but I do find them a little unsettling. I'm not sure why, I can't explain it. They just look a bit off to me. It might be the whole uncanny valley thing going on. In saying that though, I do like dolls with little smiles. I think that's super cute, but I also know that as soon as the sculpt has smile lines or anything like that, once again, you're going to be limited with how you can paint it. But if the doll has a neutral expression, I feel like it would be quite easy to paint the corners of their mouths to make them look like they are smiling, and you kind of get the best of both then. So if you wanted to paint them more serious or neutral, you could do that. So therefore my answer to this question is I prefer non-smilers. Question number 7 is, what do you look for in a doll? For example, do you prefer more realism, more posability, or something else? So as far as I'm concerned, I don't really have a specific set of things or traits that I look for in a doll. I tend to just gravitate towards dolls that I like, and I don't really think I've been around long enough to be able to narrow that preference down to a specific style. I mean, you could argue that as far as my resin dolls go, I gravitate towards slightly more realistic, but then I also have B and Miku who are very anime-esque, so that doesn't really work. As far as the dolls I have and their bodies, they are all completely different, so I'm not sure there's anything to be learnt from that. I guess one obvious similarity is that apart from Ava, they are all 1/3 scale or SD sized. That is something I look for when I am looking at dolls to buy, so that's definitely one thing. Of course, I do appreciate posability in a doll, and I am going to look at reviews and all that to make sure that it is not a complete flop, but I don't think that would stop me from buying a doll if I really liked their face and if that body is just what happened to come with it. Something that drew me to Rachel here and Lee and my little rebel Andre head was their silhouettes, namely their profile. I really liked how they looked from the side, so that did help me make my decision, but I'm not sure I would have done it differently had I not liked their profile as much. I don't know, this is a really hard question for me. I'm honestly struggling to think of things that I look for other than just liking the doll. Like, I have to like them, and I don't know what it is that makes me like them. I don't know. This question is hard, let's move on. Next up is question number 8, which is actually the last question. Do you prefer telling everyone about your doll hobby? Why or why not? Okay, so for this one, I feel like my response is going to be somewhat controversial because I tend to not tell people about my hobby, mainly because I fear that they're going to have some weird, insulting reaction to me telling them, and I just don't have the time or energy to deal with that, so I choose to instead hide it. Another way to put it is that, for example, if I went out tonight and someone asked me what I had done today, I'm not going to tell them that I sat here and filmed a video about dolls. Maybe one day I'll have the confidence to do that, but I'm not quite there yet. I have mentioned them in passing a couple of times when it has come up naturally in a conversation, and in those cases I won't elaborate unless someone asks questions and seem genuinely curious. In those cases I will obviously tell them more because I'm not going to actively hide it in that way, but I'm also not going to go out of my way to talk someone's ear off about dolls. My close friends know, my partner obviously knows, my family kind of knows, but I don't think they fully realize to what extent I am committed to this hobby and exactly what it involves. I'm sure I'll get around to telling them someday, but for now I honestly just don't think they need to know. They're certainly not any worse off for not knowing all of the gory details. Anyway, with that we have made it to the end of this tag. For those of you out there watching who have dolls of your own, I would be really interested to hear your answers to these questions. I'm not saying that you need to go out and make a video, although that would be really cool and I would definitely watch it, so link it down below if you do make a video, but be sure to leave your responses in the comments down below. And of course, if you enjoyed this video, please consider giving it a thumbs up. If you're not already subscribed, I would love it if you joined me here. I upload a new video every weekend on Sundays. Thank you so much for watching, it has been lovely, and I'll catch you in another video sometime soon.